Hey Divine Mommies, welcome to my channel. I'm CrystalDivineQueen and this is my Indigenous lifestyle. Today I'm going to be talking to my women out there who are interested in knowing what it looks like for your first trimester if you are having an unassisted pregnancy. Basically meaning your prenatal care is going to be unassisted from an OBGYN. For those of you who are new to the term unassisted pregnancy, I want you to understand that unassisted pregnancy does not mean no prenatal care, okay? Unassisted pregnancy just means that you are taking full responsibility for your prenatal care and that you are not relying on any outside sources for validation of the health of you and your baby while you're pregnant. Now, there are some early signs of pregnancy, and just depending on how clean your body is, how in tune you are with your moon cycle, and if you keep track of your ovulation or not, those things will determine if you are able to pick on the very subtle early signs of pregnancy. So briefly, some signs could be cramping. For me, I only cramp at a specific time every month. And I know that if I'm cramping and it is not around that specific time, then my body is trying to communicate something to me, and it could possibly be that I am pregnant. Spotting is another early sign of pregnancy. Again, for me and my body, I know what my menstrual, what my moon cycle is like. I know how I bleed before it comes on, during, and afterwards. So if I see any spotting occurring outside of that, then that's another sign that my body is trying to communicate something with me, and it could also be an early sign of pregnancy. Change in discharge is another early sign, and if my discharge is healthy and consistent, then it will be very easy to notice the change in the discharge. Bloating is another early sign of pregnancy. If I notice when I put on my clothes, when I put on my pants specifically, and they're just feeling a little too tight, or I feel like I'm gaining a little bit of weight, those are signs of bloating, and that could be a sign of early pregnancy if the bloating is occurring and it's not around your moon cycle, your menstrual cycle. So if I'm having the desire to wear sweats or leggings, those are indications that I'm probably bloated. If I'm noticing that I'm having to urinate a lot more frequently, that can be a sign of early pregnancy. That could also be a sign of some type of infection as well. So it's just a way that your body is trying to communicate with you that something is changing, something is going on inside of the body. And another sign, another subtle sign, could be your breasts. If your breasts are feeling real tender or sore or just sensitive, that could be a sign of pregnancy as well. All of the symptoms that I just named can happen anywhere from week 1 to week 4. In those 4 weeks, you can experience any or all of those symptoms. But again, they're very subtle symptoms. And if you're not in tune with thyself, you're not aware of how your body normally functions and works, especially pertaining to your menstrual cycle, then you could miss out on all of these signs. Oh, and I want to clarify too with the spotting. So if that is an early sign of pregnancy, that is called implantation bleeding. And that is when the blood is pink, red, or brown, but you will only notice it when you are wiping yourself. And that can last for 1 to 3 days, or it could be sporadically, like a day here, skip a day, another day here. After the implantation bleeding, that is when the pregnancy hormone has developed in the body, and you could take a pregnancy test now and it will show positive. And again, this is usually around week 4 or 5 when we notice that our period is late or our period has not came on yet, and we're kind of like, okay, I might need to take a pregnancy test. Obviously, when your period is late or your period does not come on, that is the biggest sign of pregnancy. It's the biggest symptom of pregnancy that our body can give us. So thus far in your first trimester, when you're choosing to have an unassisted pregnancy, it's basically going to just consist of you noticing subtle changes in your body. And then once you start to notice some of those changes, you'll realize you're late. And then a week later, your period still hasn't came on. And that's like the biggest confirmation that you are indeed pregnant. And at this point, you can either choose to go ahead and take a pregnancy test or not. You could just trust in yourself and know like, okay, I'm pregnant, especially if you've already had babies before and you are kind of familiar, or you really keep track of your ovulation. Then you already know prior to getting to week 4 or week 5 that, okay, I was ovulating, I had sex around this time, it's a chance I could be pregnant. And so you spend those 4 weeks just kind of waiting to see like if your period is going to come on or not. Once you do come to the realization that you are in fact pregnant, this is the time for you to start making healthier life choices and start implementing them immediately. If you are healthy or you have had a pregnancy before that was successful, then more than likely you are considered low risk. But if you are high risk, you would have some type of illness or disease that you would just know is a concern with you being pregnant. And if you are high risk, then your journey of having an unassisted pregnancy is going to be a little bit more complex. So this video isn't really dedicated to you, because depending on your situation, your health conditions, your journey is just going to look a lot different. But it doesn't mean that it's impossible. For my low risk pregnant women, the first thing you're going to want to do now that you've come to the realization that you are pregnant is you want to find out how far along you are. And there are several different ways to do it. Me personally, I have an app that I use to just track my periods and keep track of when I'm ovulating, and it has a feature where if I'm pregnant, I can just activate it and it will tell me how far along I am, when my due date is, and then it'll give me like week by week what to expect and just knowledge on what is going on inside of my body as far as what body parts is developing with the baby and just inside of me for the baby. So I prefer the app, and I also prefer the app too because the more consistent I am with using the app prior to getting pregnant, just the more information I'm putting in there for it to analyze, the more accurate my due date and my gestational date is going to be accurate. So you have calculated your due date and you know how far along you are. Now it's time to make those healthy lifestyle changes that I was telling you about. Your body right then and there is at work. Your body, the insides of you are busy at work preparing to have a baby. So right away you might notice that you have severe fatigue. So what you want to do is just make sure that you carve out more time for sleep. Definitely want to make sure you're getting your sleep during the night, but you also want to make sure that you're taking naps throughout the day. And this could be 1 or 2 naps, but you want your naps to just be about an hour long. You don't want to crash and wake up 3-4 hours later, because that's going to make you feel even more sluggish. And a lot of times we really don't even want to be asleep due to the fatigue. We just want to lay in the bed. So definitely make sure that you're carving out more downtime. You need to make sure that you stay hydrated as well. This is very important. Drinking water, not just sweet tea, lemonade, soda, and all of those other drinks which are not going to keep you hydrated. You need to be drinking water. And normally when you drink water, it should be room temperature. But there is something about having a cup of cold water with some ice chunks in it. It really helps soothe you when you're feeling nauseous during this time and just sick to the stomach. But when it's time for bed, you don't want to drink water before you go to sleep, because you will be getting up in the middle of the night to go and pee. Next lifestyle change that you need to implement is to stay active. And this is going to be hard because not only are you fatigued and tired and sick and nauseous, you're just not going to feel like getting up and doing any kind of exercising at all. But trust me, it will make you feel better. You just have to push yourself to do it. And the best thing, the bright side, is that you don't have to do an extenuous workout. You know, just get up and just get active, move around for a few minutes, and you will start to feel better. And it's also going to create a lot of energy within you too, because you're definitely probably going to be feeling really low on your energy. When you're active, the increase in oxygen intake and the blood circulating are all things that can help you out with the fatigue. But you don't want to work out and be active at night because you might end up with having insomnia. Eating healthy. This is a big one because I find that when you are pregnant, the last thing you want to do is eat healthy foods. But it is crucial to eat healthy, especially in the first trimester, because this is when everything is developing. Body parts, organs, everything is developing, and it's like your chance to have a cheat code. Like, it's your opportunity to be able to influence and give your baby a head start by eating healthy foods. You are what you eat. What you put into the body does play a major part in how the organs and the brain development and all of that stuff creates. So you want to eat healthy so that you can add to your, this is your one chance to add to the health and development of your baby. So eating healthy foods is a must. So focus on rich foods that will provide high sources of vitamins and minerals. Raw foods is the absolute best because when you cook foods, you kill the nutrients. Steamed is better than cooked. I would definitely advise you to eat a lot of steamed vegetables, just steamed food. Just know that nothing compares to raw foods. Like, the vibration is at an all-time high. This topic is really a whole video in itself, so I'm not going to elaborate so much on as the types of food you should be eating. I'll probably make a video on this in the future. But eating healthy mini meals, about 6 a day, is essential. And then you want to make sure that you're avoiding sugar and caffeine. And sugar might be hard for a lot of people, but sugar is detrimental. Like, do not eat it, especially during your first trimester. So all of that combined with a good prenatal vitamin during your first trimester. Now, the thing about a prenatal vitamin, and I did make a video on this, go ahead and check that out wherever it is. Prenatal vitamin is not it. Like, you can't just eat a prenatal vitamin is an additive. It's a supplement. And this is why you should check out that video, because it's important to know the proper use and the purpose of a prenatal vitamin. Some women actually go without having a prenatal vitamin, and that is perfectly fine. A prenatal vitamin is something that has been pushed onto us that we believe we must have, and that's not necessarily true. It's a supplement. It's like an additive. It's a bonus. It is not, however, sufficient enough to be your only source of nutrition. You need to be eating good foods along with the prenatal vitamin. And if you are not eating good foods and then you're taking the prenatal vitamin, please do not be under the assumption that it's okay, the prenatal vitamin is going to balance it out. No, the unhealthy foods that you're eating is going to cancel out whatever little that the prenatal vitamin is trying to add. So if you do decide to take a prenatal vitamin, do your research. I highly recommend you get your own prenatal vitamin. And obviously, if you're having an unassisted pregnancy, you're not going to be getting them through the OBGYN, which is great because they prescribe us the absolute worst prenatal vitamins available. So do your research. I also made a video on my top 3 prenatal vitamins. Check that out and get your prenatal vitamin as soon as possible if you do decide that you want to take prenatal vitamins during your unassisted pregnancy. Another lifestyle change that you'll need to manage is stress. This is not the time for stress. This is not the time for drama. Whatever you feel, the baby feels as well. And if you are in a stressful environment, dealing with stressful people, just around a lot of negativity and drama, all of that does have a long-term effect on the development and the health of your baby. So manage your stress. Make sure you are not in stressful environments. And if you do have to be around some negativity or some stress, make sure you're doing rituals to calm yourself and relieve yourself of stress. So doing yoga, meditating, journaling is a really big one. Journaling is so therapeutic, and not only is it therapeutic, but it could be a benefit for you to just document things that you're going through while you're pregnant. taking deep breaths to sit down and calm yourself if you're not a really big meditator. Aromatherapy is good. Music is always therapeutic. Reading, praying, maybe getting a massage, drinking some herbal tea, all those things along the line, and I'm sure plenty more that you could think of are things that you can do to help relax yourself if you just got into an argument with somebody, or you just left out of a house that had a lot of toxic energy in it. Calm yourself down every time you feel stressed and just manage your stress. Make sure you're not putting yourself in situations where you will be stressed or be around stress. Now, honestly, aside from calculating your pregnancy and making all of the lifestyle changes that I just made, eating healthy, getting enough sleep, talking to moms who have had positive birth experiences that they can share with you, watching videos, exercising lightly, managing your stress, taking your prenatal vitamins, no negativity, no drama, just all of the stuff that I basically just mentioned. It may sound strange, but doing that is just enough. There is not much else that you need to do during your first trimester. However, there are things that you can do to just reassure yourself that you are in fact healthy and your pregnancy is going along just fine. And that's pretty much the things that the OBGYN does. But majority of the things that the OBGYN does, you can do for yourself. You can do it yourself, but it's really not necessary. And honestly, we're only going to them because we need that validation. We need them to ease our mind. We're not comfortable within ourselves. We don't really trust ourselves, even when our body is communicating to us that everything is okay and everything is going accordingly. We still want to get that outside validation. And so that's something that you have to work on within thyself, and it takes time because it is a form of unprogramming. So if you feel that way, or you catch yourself feeling that way, don't be so hard on yourself. Just do things to help you trust into the divine feminine energy within you. So extra things that you can do just to reassure yourself that everything is okay is that you can test your urine. You can get some urine strips. They're very easy. You can get them off Amazon, or you can go into a drugstore and get you some and do your research. Find out which elements you need to pay attention to, because there's a lot of different things that you can test from your urine. As far as I know, there aren't any urine strips that are catered just to pregnant women. So you do have to do your research and find out what you need to pay attention to, but you can definitely test your urine yourself. Also, you want to invest in a scale if you don't have one. That way you can manage your weight. You can keep track of if you're losing weight, if you're gaining weight. I encourage you to just weigh yourself every week. And if you feel like you're having drastic weight loss or weight gain, every couple of days, you can check your blood pressure yourself. You can order the armband and the stethoscope, and you can do it yourself. You can watch some videos and learn how to read and count on your own. And if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself, you can go to the drugstore. They still have those machines where you can put your arm in it and test your blood pressure for free. But honestly, if you're doing all the things that I named, if you're healthy, you're low risk, you're eating well, you're doing your light exercising, and you're just managing your environment stress-free, you're going out in the sun getting that energy, chances are you're not going to have issues with your blood pressure. In your second trimester, there are more things that you can do, more things that your OBGYN does for you. I will make a separate video talking about that. But the first trimester is really low maintenance when you break it down, and it's probably that way by design, because the first trimester is rough. Like, we're going through stuff. We're tired, we're sick, we don't feel good, our stomach hurts, we might be nauseous, we might be throwing up, we're sensitive to smells, we can't eat certain foods that we used to like, we can't eat the foods that we really want to eat, we just don't feel good. So just being able to just focus on making sure that we're doing the lifestyle changes that I named, and the very bare minimum, just calculating your due date and keeping track of just your overall state of health is enough. Like, that is more than enough to worry about in the first trimester. So if you were wondering how can I have an unassisted prenatal experience, then I basically just broke down to you what the first trimester will look like. I certainly intend on breaking down the second and the third trimester in separate videos. So if you're interested in that, make sure that you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you can get your notification. Thank you guys for tuning into my video. Be sure to like and comment below, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.